From After Dark World Headquarters. This is your morning report with your favorite correspondent, Katie. Good morning, everyone. Get a cup of coffee. Get your lazy ass out of the bed. For Mr. and Ms. America, all ships at sea, all sods everywhere. It's time for the morning report, and we're going to finish, we'll get very close to finishing Michael Crichton's adventures with the London Psychics. And so, continuing, Crichton's talking about his experience. I tried to notice what was associated with their goings off and coming back. It seemed like they went off whenever they paid too much attention to me. If they really looked at me, they might make some ordinary observations such as, "You look very young," or "You're very tall," or "You're not English, are you?" And then they would go off the track. So it seemed like they had to ignore me to do a good job, or a good reading, I should say. When they were their most accurate, it was if they were talking to themselves, behaving as if I weren't even in the room. In this sense, what they were doing was the opposite of cold reading techniques that required close scrutiny of the person before you. Here it seemed that close scrutiny caused errors. Also, I noticed that psychic information was disorderly. As odd and sometimes irritating mixture of that significant and the trivial, as if everything counted the same. It was if our usual procedures for weighing information were bypassed in psychic readings. We won't finish today, but there's not much left. And I want to finish this very soon. Michael Crichton Travels, highly recommend it. Something else I can highly recommend that I've just started. I'm late to the game on this one. I'm a fan of HBO series, especially from the early 2000s to, say, 2015. Big fan of Deadwood here, big fan of The Sopranos. But there was one that, for some reason, I never caught up with, and this is Boardwalk Empire. But I'm caught up with it now. Almost finished the first disc, and boy, it's really great. I can highly recommend it. So, I want to try something a little more different from Good Advice. You say, "Wow, KD, you got all kinds of books." And the answer is, yes, I do. We're going to speak of revenge. "Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, gives him drink. For in doing so, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head." That's from the New Testament. "In taking revenge, a man is but even with his enemy, but in passing it over, he is superior." This is from Francis Bacon. "It is folly to punish your neighbor by fire when you live next door." Unknown. "Live well, it is the greatest revenge." That's Talmud. That's the Jewish sacred scripts. And most of the Old Testament, I should say. "Rejoice not in thine enemy's fall, but don't rush to pick him up either." Another Jewish proverb. We might come back to this. I like this book. I've had it for quite a while. Good Advice. Now, you say, "Well, KD, that's kind of interesting, but where's the smut?" Right here. I don't have my books yet, but I do have it on Kindle. Can you believe that Larry Flint's joke book is on Kindle? Two little old ladies were rocking back and forth in their chairs on the front porch of the rest home. Ethel said to Mabel, "Do you remember all them dances we used to do?" "Yep." "The waltz?" "Yep." The minuet at the last? Hell, Mabel replied. I can't remember the men I fucked, let alone the men I ate. The Hustler Dictionary defines AIDS as the fucking you get from the fucking you got. Larry Flint, he knows what he's doing, or he did know what he was doing. All right, then. Oh, yes, I haven't forgot. Can never show you the front cover because you can't handle it. But we're getting back to the lesbo initiation. All right, so the lady I'd chosen, of course, lived in the same city. Now, this is her little mail order swinger reply. My heart was pounding hard when I dialed her number. But when she answered, the sound of her low, throaty voice put me at ease and made me instantly anxious to more than meet her. She told me very tactfully, laughing lightly now and then, that she was 28, single, a private secretary, and that she had been able to tell from my letter that we obviously had a certain preference in common. She gave me her address and asked if I could come over that evening to get acquainted. I replied, trying not to sound too anxious, that I could. I asked her if I could bring anything. She laughingly replied, just yourself, Susan. I told Bill that night that I had some shopping to do. I was elatedly nervous, but not afraid, as I drove the several miles across town to the address she'd given me. It was a nice part of town, not posh, but neatly high middle class. I felt no fear at all when I knocked on her apartment door. I felt only an eager, urgent need. I heard light, quick footsteps within. The door opened and, "Hi, Susan. Hey, you're sexier looking than you sounded. Come in, come in." Well, we'll just have to wait till tomorrow to, I'm going to show you the cover, to find out what happens with their lesbo initiations, or I should say Susan's, or excuse me, that dude's lesbo initiation. There's no way a woman wrote this. Winding it up, Ms. Xavier Hollander. I never get tired of the letters to the happy hooker. Dear Xavier, I'm in the process of reading your second book after having read your first one a while back. I've been wanting to write you for a while, but didn't think you'd ever get to it, but it's worth a try. You really are an interesting woman. From what I read, and I'd really like to meet you, and I'd really sit down and rap to you. So much of the way you think I agree with. I've had some of the kind of experiences that you've had, yet you've had some that really interest me. You just really have done a lot of things I'd like to do, and you're really someone I hope to meet. I'm 21 years old, but in some ways an old 21. I've been a hooker, but I can't say I've made it to the top like you did. But I've had some weird experiences with Johns similar to the ones you've had. But like you, I'm not really doing it anymore. My name is Jan. I'm 5'4", 115, blondish hair and blue-green eyes. I live with a man named Earl. We're very different, but it kind of reminds me of the way you described Larry in your second book. Earl knows I want to meet you. I'm sure he'd like to meet you too. Well, I just wanted to write and let you know how I feel about you. You really have a good, well-liberated head on about yourself. And I know very few people whom I can relate to on such an open level. I think I could talk to you about lots of things that we really both dig. Well, I got to go now. The gas man is here. And I want to fuck him. So write back if this ever gets to you, okay? Bye. Since she already gave her first name, I will. Jan from Columbia, South Carolina. I wonder if Ms. Xavier ever got back to her. I don't know. Well, it's been another great morning report and another great morning with those great, best ever subscribers that I have. It's very fun for me to read to you and entertain you in some sort of way. So remember, always be nice till it's time not to be nice. Be kind to animals. Discipline equals freedom. Did you say it? Never complain and never explain. And so for Mr. and Ms. America, all ships at sea and all sides, everywhere. This is your favorite correspondent, KD, wishing you a great day to get consequential shit done. And remember, it's National Goof Off Month, but not for us. I hope to see you on the road to adventures.